Hello folks, hope everyone is well. So today I wanted to speak about a very practical topic, and that is remedies. And rather than concentrating on the usual planet remedies, we're actually going to discuss Bhava remedies, for the houses. And these are some of them are actually very, common sense, but we lose some of that common sense when we're anxious or frustrated or agitated, when things aren't going well, and sometimes you can't see clearly. So I'm going to discuss first, very important, which is the Kendra houses, and then I'm going to discuss each house and an effective remedy for a troublesome house for you. So let's get started. All right, now Kendra houses represent what we want. There are the 1, 4, 7, 10 houses. There are the houses of foundations. There are the houses of stability. Purity is very important for Kendra houses. How kind-hearted are you? This is reflected from the 4th house. Shuddhi is important to balance the moksha trikona. Shuddhi meaning purification. Right, and that's what we're talking about. 4, 8, 12, but specifically for the 4th house. So purity becomes important for the moksha trikona, and especially the 4th house. 7th house is what? Vriddhi, meaning growth. So in order for self-expansion, most people seek a partner. And the end of life can also be seen actually from the 4th as well as the 7th house. Whereas Siddhi, which is perfection, which is achievement, is seen from the 10th house. This is our place in the world, our actions, karma we create, karma we burn. The 1st house is Buddhi. It's where we see our intelligence, our intellect. So you have to see what will eventually balance that 1st house, right? The best remedy here is the need for Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Simply faith. Faith, not just in your ability, but in yourself. And that's where confidence comes from as well. So increasing your knowledge will strengthen that faith. Because the person who has faith, knowledge follows, and vice versa. This is a spiritual domain. Faith in oneself will balance that 1st house. In this way, the Dharma Trikona also gets balanced, right? The 1, 5, 9. And then the 5th house stuff starts coming into your life. The Punya starts coming into your life. So then we have the 2nd house, which is what? Which is words, which is speech. If the 2nd house is damaged, or afflicted, then your wealth will get destroyed. 5th from the 2nd becomes the 6th house. 5th from any house basically sustains it, right? So 6th will sustain the 2nd house. So to maintain wealth, you need to keep making efforts. You need to do service. Perhaps seva, manage your enemies, your competitors. Try to see that people don't unnecessarily become your enemy. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing things to take away your wealth. Also with family, very important what is being said, because family tends to remember things. I think everyone has experienced that at some point or the other. So then let's talk about the 3rd house. This is where we see strength, perseverance, initiative. So to increase this or to balance this, you need patience. Depending on how much patience you have, this will give it more strength. Desires actually give birth here because this is the first Gam Trikone, right? 3, 7, 11. 3 being the first. So to increase manifestation, we need that patience. We need to surrender somewhat. So try to cultivate patience. That's the only thing you can do for the third house. Shuddhi is fourth house, which represents mother, motherland, all factors that attach a person. Fourth house is attachment, actually. So how can one free themselves from these attachments? The more you're engaged with higher subjects, spirituality, God, these things will detach you. Yeah. Jignasa. Jignasa is a concept which is also helpful here, which means basically wonder. Like you're in awe of things. You know, like a child is. You're in awe. That's connecting with that fourth house. You take everything as a wonder. Where does that river come from? Where is it flowing? Yeah, you know, those things. Like the stuff that children ask. Those questions that children ask. So this is actually like a remedy for the fourth house. Innocence, purity, going back to that. So that's the thing that manifests this. It's an inquiry for all of these things, like the simple things in life, really. So you need jignasa, wonder. Then the small attachments that you have will suddenly disappear. And we all have them, actually. Right? And these small attachments actually create a lot of baggage, a lot of emotional garbage, I would call it, rubbish. And that rubbish gets accumulated. And that rubbish creates moha, which is attachment. So that's why you need some higher interest, where the mind expands, where the mind dissolves, right? So the higher you take that intelligence, your buddhi, that's the first house stuff, the better. This is actually the essence of the Upanishads as well. It's wonder. How are the birds chirping? Where did that bird come from? Where's it going? Like, how do the rivers flow? You know, like that sort of thing. Then we come to the fifth house. Fifth house is the house of love. It's the house of devotion. So how do we balance the fifth house? By being in a surrender mode. Surrender into your master's feet, your guru's feet. Then that way you can balance the fifth house. So like belief in something higher than you, than human beings, than like your connections. Believe in a higher power. Platonic love can also do this, to build that. Keep surrendering, and this will balance that fifth house. Yeah. Sixth house is next. So what's the remedy for that sixth house? A tough house, actually. Sixth house represents debts, disease, enemies, problems, just problems of all kinds. Sankalpa will help to balance the sixth house. It means friendship with everyone. So leave that enmity from your side. Forgive, move on, let go. You free yourself from the enemies that way. And actually the impressions in your mind, right, are creating the enemies around you. And you get stuck in that cycle. Like, which comes first? The external or the internal? You just get stuck in that cycle. So to detach from like that cycle, you have to think about creating friendship with yourself as well, actually. That's where it starts. And not latching on to like small things, like just letting go on a regular basis. Because that's how this inimical vibration gets manifested. Your environment actually plays a role too here. The food that you intake also plays a role here. Are you in an environment that doesn't suit you? Because those vibrations, like do you live in a violent society, and a very aggressive society? That can also play a role. Yeah. The idea, like, let everyone become my friend, will like kind of balance this out to a great degree. If you can't do this, then as I said, just create like a detachment in your mind with like it could be something in your environment. It could be some like specific person involved, some situation. You have to create that detachment, which is not easy, of course, but with practice, right? Like, it's just practice every day. A spiritual practice is very, very helpful. Then, of course, we come to the 7th house. 7th house is, here we are looking for support from another person in the form, it could be a form of a business partner. It could be in the form of a life partner, some collaboration, some alliances, right? Basically support with someone who we can share things. So how to balance this? Surrender, actually, is the only way. Like, because here the self has to dissolve. Like, if you want to expand the 7th, you have to look to the 1st. So the 1st has to dissolve in order to expand the 7th. Right? Relationship requires that dissolution anyway. So that's kind of like how you build harmony with someone, like when both people dissolve. When the life partners are concerned about each other, right? Like, rather than thinking about themselves only. That's when these conditions break. Like, I accept you as you are. You are everything for me. I'm there for you. That sort of thing. So seeing divinity in the life partner, surrendering to God. Not easy, obviously, because when we're very close to somebody, it's much easier to see flaws in that person. But actually, you have to do the opposite, right? When you accept them as they are, you're actually free, and you can feel that lightness. Like, change your habits. Then some of the people, like the person that you're living with, some of those issues can disappear. You change your habits. So to feel like that expansion from another person, we need acceptance, right? Then comes the 8th house. 8th house, you need intense sadhana to balance it. It's just things happening, just like out of your control. Pranayam balances this house. Sadhana, of course, balances some kind of an active spiritual practice, right? Not just sitting there and meditating, right? Meditation is more like the 12th house stuff. Surrender is also required for 8th house problem. So what about the 9th house, which is 11th from the 11th? Luck of the luck, right? Which you have in your life. 5th and 9th houses are basically what we call Lakshmi Stan. The more you indulge in like the earth trikon, right, which is 2, 6, 10, the more efforts you are putting in to get results. Like with the earth signs, you're always putting effort. Always. Whereas 5th and 9th is effortless. It's what you get without doing anything. It's the luck factor. With 2, 6, 10, there's a sense of doership, right? Whereas here with 5, 9, it's not so much doership. And it's not even so much visualization. Like, people like, oh, I'm going to manifest this by visualization. It's not so much even visualization that gives you anything. Rather, it's surrender that gives you everything. You put up, you put your effort. You put, or you detach. Actually, you detach and then just let life flow on its own. Whichever direction it's flowing in. I mean, you have to go with the direction. You might want to control that, but that's not how 5, 9 works, right? So you have to surrender the doership inside of you. which again is very, very difficult, right? That's all, like, it's also an 8th house remedy. This is actually the power of Lakshmi San. So doership is surrendered. So then, like, you have to trust that the universe is working for you, God is working for you when you surrender, right? There's a Guru Kripa is there then, right? Guru's what, 9th house? So let's talk about the 10th house, very important house. It's the house, it's the domain of siddhis. It's the effort that you're putting in. 11th is, of course, luck after the effort of the 10th. Right? So 9th you get without any effort. What balances the 10th house is seeing yourself as not just a doer, but rather as a seer. You don't feel like that a small unit is having like failure or success, right? Like, so you have to see, like, you're bigger than the work that you're doing. So you have to see the bigger picture, bigger than the effort that you're putting in. This is a way to balance the 10th house, not to get so hung up on the outcomes. So what about the 11th house? What's the remedy here? 11th house is, of course, the gains that you're getting. So it should be pure. So what does that mean? Income and effort and everything you gain, the efforts should be in the right direction. They should be pure, not corrupt. That's how to balance this house. Once you get greedy, once you start taking shortcuts, once you like do unethical things, right, to get money, or maybe even harm others to get money, that's when the 11th house suffers. In fact, your children will suffer if you're taking corrupt money, or that money which you don't deserve. It's not rightfully yours, right? Because across from the 11th is the 5th house. So finally we come to the last house, the 12th house. House where you need to surrender. Similar to the 8th, we can't really control this domain. It's sort of like the idea, like, God will take care of it, that kind of thing. If you focus on the Kendras, it actually balances everything else out. If you focus on the Kendras, the rest of the houses align accordingly. So what? First is, as we said, Shraddha, faith in yourself, faith in a higher power, faith in your Guru, faith in your God. Then you get knowledge of the self. 4th is Shuddhi, which is like wonder for the world, wonder for nature, wonder for everything around us, wonder for like the small things that to some people seem like nothing, but to some people seem like miracles. That's when you know your 4th house is working properly. This will free you also from attachments that bind you, and then that moksha trikona gets balanced. Yeah. 7th house gives importance to the other. Accept them as they are. 10th house is Siddhi, balanced by remembering your higher calling. I'm more than someone who has succeeded. I'm more than someone who has failed. Entire moksha trikona and dharma trikona gets balanced in this way. So if you follow it sincerely, all trikonas start balancing out. All right, now just a little note on Rahu Ketu. As far as they're concerned, the nodes are concerned. Rahu Ketu are not just points. They're your direction. Rahu is basically the Sahasrara chakra to the Muladhara chakra, and Ketu is from the Muladhara chakra to the Sahasrara chakra, opposite to Rahu, right, beyond. Rahu's concentrated in Muladhara, but covers the whole Kundalini. They cannot be seen because they're directions. They're not living, they're shadows, right? They're not living entities. They're not physical planets. So balance is not gifted or given, but from your efforts, you have this. So when you speak about balancing chakras, only take planets. You don't take houses, like we just spoke about. So it's very important to sort of like line up the two. How auspicious or how inauspicious a planet is determine also how the chakras are getting balanced, because there's a connection there, right? So in practice, house remedies are even more important than planet remedies. So that's all for now, folks. Hope you enjoyed that, and hope you found it useful, and hope you found it practical and easy to implement. I think some of them are easy to implement. It's just reminder to self sort of thing. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Take care.